This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Okay, I'm going to call the meeting of the Manhan Rail Trail Committee to order. It's Monday, May 19th, and it's 7 o'clock, and we are down in the basement, conference room B. So I had sent out with the agenda reminder the minutes from the April 28th, 2025 meeting. Everybody's had a chance to look at them. Any corrections or comments or accolades or anything like that? Any accolades? Very thorough. Yeah, as always. Excellent. All right, so do I hear a motion to accept the minutes of the May 19th, April 28th, 1920? Oh my goodness, April 28th, 2025 meeting.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Accept the minutes.
Second? Second. All in favor? And raise your hands. Okay. All right. Do we have anybody for public speak? It doesn't look like it. New business. We don't really have any new business. So, why don't we just start first by talking about the trail project? I think I had sent out the information about it's on the city website about what's going on. I do have a little update from the assistant engineer, and I'll read it. She sent this after. She said the biggest update is that locations have been consolidated to main locations of the path due to an unanticipated number of repairs, meaning that most of the work will be constrained between South Street and Ferry Street. We're planning on using some kind of funding to do more crack sealing along the areas we're unable to reach the construction cycle, and plan to apply for another Mass Trails grant to repair more locations in the future. That's good. The first shutdown will be for tree removals from Coleman Road to Ferry Street, and then from Fort Hill to North. These trees have been marked as risk trees and are either dying, dead, or pose a safety concern. The section shut down will be from South to Ferry and will stay closed until all the repairs are completed. So,
Can you send that out to us maybe?
Yeah, sure. Yep. I mean, there's a large chunk of the trail that is closed right now.
Technically, but it looked like people were
Walking
able
forward.
to access sections, and I didn't walk it or ride it, but it didn't seem like.
Yeah, I didn't see any work happening, but
Correct.
couldn't really see it.
Walked Ferry Street to just past the mills, there's nothing going on.
Yeah, the electronic sign that I saw is at Ferry Street, but it's as if going north from there is going to be closed, which that doesn't sound like where they're.
Right, it feels like
Well,
they're the same.
Yeah,
There is a closed sign right down at Route 5.
okay, but
There is one right.
And there
down
was
there.
one was it by Coleman? There might be one at Coleman too.
Well, plus it's coming here, right on Park Street. There was signs on both sides, and the trail was closed.
Okay, well, at least there's quite a few signs out.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I mean, and we've had it on at the city, had it out on the website, and then
Been on Facebook,
been on Facebook.
but I'll update with that.
Okay, I'll just give you this.
Yeah.
You can have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do know, I did see the city council agenda, and there was a supplemental appropriation for another, I think, $40,000. And I had heard that was going to be happening. We haven't been asked to pay anything yet. So,
But did we contribute our
well,
portion of the,
we have an open purchase order,
okay,
and I've asked a couple times whether there's any bills yet, because we have to sign.
right?
So I haven't gotten anything yet.
Okay,
So, I mean, that might not come until, the thing is pretty much done,
okay.
but because there's other money, but it's all ready to go. We just have to, they just have to tell us,
Okay.
and we have to sign the sheet, and then it's done. But
So I'm curious that they seem surprised by
I
Yeah,
know,
I was,
the number of
I know.
cracks when
was all
they
marked.
saw it's marked and they've walked it, and I don't
Well, I mean, I
understand.
sort of wonder if the drive-through with the GoPros or whatever they were, maybe you didn't pick up everything.
Mhm.
Or there's been certainly been a winter where there was a lot of different weather in between that might have exacerbated some,
And if you walk the trail, it's different than if you're riding.
of course.
If you're riding, it's a very bumpy, uncomfortable, dangerous ride. Walking, you can kind of step over the cracks, but if you're riding a bike, you can't step over the cracks. You have to hit them, and you have to stand up on your bike, otherwise you'll,
Yeah.
it's,
I mean, they have marked a lot.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
marked a lot.
but I'm just surprised by their comments.
Yeah, that,
Yeah,
well,
I thought the exact.
so usually when does the mass trails, they come out in November or something like, is that right?
Because we found out about it in the spring, didn't we?
Alexis, do you know when the mass trails grant applications open?
It's usually for February 1st deadline, so they open in like November for the application.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, all right. So it sounds like they're gonna probably apply for more. So. I don't know what they say, COG funding to do more crack sealing. And some places, where they have those cracks, it probably would work to just crack
Just to
seal.
Yeah.
So,
What's COG?
I don't know.
I don't know. Council, I don't know. I don't know what COG is.
G is grant, maybe?
Yeah. that makes-
Holden?
I know FERCog, but I don't think that's the COG. But I guess I was wondering, did you say that they're shortening the section that they're doing work on because of the number of cracks?
Yeah, so they're gonna consolidate between South Street and Ferry Street. The locations have been consolidated to main locations of the path, meaning that most of the work will be constrained between South Street and Ferry Street.
Okay, I definitely saw supplies past South Street towards Coleman this weekend, like staging, like, I don't know, piles of like hay bales, I think, for runoff and equipment down there. So, but it doesn't sound like they're doing work down there, or maybe just not
No,
as
they
much
said
work.
most of the work is gonna be
Most of-
South
okay.
Ferry, but that means some of the work will be
Yeah.
down in Coleman. And there, I think they put their supply stage area at the end of Coleman.
I mean, Coleman, that is the newest section of the trail, right?
Right.
So I don't really know if it's that bad.
I don't think Coleman,
Coleman doesn't need any work. going on.
it's not the Coleman.
Pullman is the tree removals.
Oh.
South Street to Ferry Street is more.
Oh,
basic.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
But what stuns me is the section north of Ferry Street, behind the mills there,
Right.
where it splits
Yes.
by the Y.
Yeah.
There's a kind of a
Right.
rough patch there that might not get done. I don't know.
Well,
Maybe
I would think, let's see, yeah.
there's a lot of those little sinkholes that if you don't see them, it's bad.
Well, behind the mills, I think that, yeah, they know about those.
Yeah, but this is beyond.
Beyond.
Should we ask for clarification in terms of some of the areas that will be less attended to so that we have a clearer sense, so we might provide feedback?
I mean, anybody, if anybody wants to email Mandy directly, I mean, or,
What is Mandy's title?
she's assistant city engineer, I think.
Okay,
Here, you can actually
Okay.
get that.
all right.
Yeah, I missed a bunch of meetings, so I'm just a little curious the way, so we're saying whoever, got the bid or whatever, didn't actually walk the trail and see it for themselves, they relied on some.
Well,
They were
GoPro?
relying on
Well, there was an assessment done
assessment,
Right,
last year.
which
when-
identified,
That we
what was it,
needed for the
109?
grant.
right.
Right, yeah.
So I think they were going by that, and then did a walkthrough and probably maybe found more where when they were, you know,
Yeah.
marking.
Yeah.
It sounds like they didn't really use the right procedures.
Well, it could be too that, you know, you have one company that does consulting to put, you know, get numbers together, and then you have an actual company that does the work.
Yeah.
And maybe when the company that actually does the work got out there, it wasn't exactly the same as.
Well, and also based on what man hours or whatever is expected to cost and what they can actually complete in the time they have allotted. So,
Right, right. John?
Yeah, I also just wanted to add that wasn't the assessment done before last winter?
Yeah.
Yes.
So this winter was the kind of winter that sucks for the trail. The way that would snow and then sleet and then rain is the kind of like weather that makes the ground heave. It's just that kind of weather that gets underneath and like freezes and causes damage. So it also could just be that there was more damage because of the way that it snowed more this winter than it has in 10 years. So I'm just saying that could also been some of the damage too.
It could be. I tend to think a lot of it is like mostly roots and things that have been there, but it could have caused some more trees to, you
Yep.
know, you need to be taken down. So, you know. Anyway, so it's happening and they better get moving because
Yeah,
it's got to be done pretty soon, but, you know,
they're supposed to start today, according to their sign.
Yes. Yeah.
Their electronic sign at Ferry Street said they were starting today.
when they put up the trail blocks,
yeah, like all over the place.
right, even where they didn't need them.
Yes.
So Barb, you say, so they have a deadline. So what does that mean in terms of what do they have to show that they're done? And then what is the marker that says
Yeah.
they are?
I'm not sure about that. Yeah, that's up to the engineering department and the contractor. I mean, they all know they know what the timeline is, so
Is it the end of June?
I think so, yeah.
So I think I called it 5 weeks.
Okay,
All right.
all right, so that's that. So, yeah, we had a great mulching day. As usual, it was boom, done like that. You know, had a great crew of people, and I mean, without George and his Bobcat, I mean, with that, it just makes it go great. But we had a really good turnout this year.
We did. The weather cooperated.
Perfect day. Perfect day.
Nice.
So thank you, everybody.
I'm glad.
Yeah. We have quite a few people signed up for maintenance. I've got to sign up on some days too, but if anybody is willing to take on a week or so, you know, take a week of weeding, there is the sign up. I know I've sent it around, so it's, you know, as long as everybody does it, it's not too bad. So anybody that can help, that'd be great. Cultural Chaos is coming up right around the corner. We've gotten, the sign up is looking better. David is all by himself between 2 and 4. So we do need somebody new there. And Alexis, what are your thoughts on how it looks and what do we need to do?
Yeah, it's looking good. It's more than we had last year, and I ended up hanging out most of the day, and I had a blast. So, but now I'm a little concerned that the rail trail is going to be closed when people are biking down there, which is going to diminish the amount of people that are going to bike to the event. But there's not much we can do about it. Plus, some people actually do bike on the road. But yeah, I think like having our sandwich board was super key last year. Will we be able to do that again on the rail trail?
Yeah, so actually I wanted to talk about that because, you know, I don't have access to the sandwich board signs and I don't know, I feel a little funny asking for them. So what I was thinking I would do, and I knew I need to do this really quickly, I'd like to get a few stick in the ground signs that we could have be pretty generic so we could use it for next year. And maybe even if we ever use the bike valet, so make it generic. So I need some help. I thought maybe, how many signs do you think? If we put one on Union, I was thinking maybe four signs. We could have some double-sided stick in the ground signs, and then we could just keep them, and then I wouldn't have to go and borrow a sign that isn't really mine anymore.
How much do they cost?
I'm gonna say they're like $20. They're not that
Well, then
much.
you get
I-
in case you lose some or break them or.
And if you don't put the date on, you can use them
Yeah.
year to year.
I might have some in the Mass Bike storage locker too, but I think they say Connecticut River Valley something. Like it's from like old events, but we could probably reuse the sign and just put whatever we want on it.
Yeah, I was gonna say something like something really simple, like I don't know, free bike valet parking. I don't really want to know about how to put arrows, or do I put 50 Payson Ave lot, or I don't know what else. What should I put on the
Put the
sign?
address. Yeah, I guess parking
Yeah.
lot.
Or the park address. What's the address for that little park?
John Bader Park.
Nobody's gonna know where that is.
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Sorry, John.
City Hall?
Yeah.
I don't want to call it City
Behind.
Hall. It's not City Hall. It's
I think if you put 50
Yeah.
Payson Avenue, I think
Parking
most
lot.
people know.
Yeah.
Or Angel Park.
No, nobody's gonna know.
50 Payson Avenue parking lot.
I mean, down the road, we can always like make arrows and like tape them on there or something like that. But if that's okay, I kind of thought then we could just have a few signs. We could just put them wherever we want them, and then just store them in the shed for next year.
Yep.
Yeah, then get at least 6, if not more.
Yeah, because some might disappear or
I
get
don't
wrecked.
want to. They're really pretty much right in that area. Like I don't think the one that we had one way at the end of Cottage Street last year. I don't think that really did anything. It was mostly the ones on the bike path and maybe like right at the intersection. So I'll see what the price
Yeah.
break is and see what, but I was starting to do that and I said, maybe I should double check first.
I think that's a great idea.
Sure.
Okay. It's just gonna be easier.
Yeah, and put Friends of the Manhan Rail Trail or something, or
Yeah.
courtesy
Yeah, I thought I
Friends of the
would
Manhan
maybe
Rail
even
Trail.
put our
Logo. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine. That's fine.
All right. Okay, so what time are we setting up? We're setting up at 10 o'clock.
Yep.
Speaking of logos, look what I found.
Oh, you have one of those.
Yeah, this is
I
in
worked
my
the other-
closet. I haven't seen it for quite some time. so.
Yep. Holden?
I'm not available that weekend. I'm sorry to miss this cultural chaos, but I know some people that might sign up that live in Easthampton. Is it okay if I send around that sign up sheet?
Of course. Yeah, please do.
Great.
What was I just gonna?
Yeah, I have two friends on there. One lives in Florence and is a avid cyclist, and the other one, Megan, lives in the neighborhood nearby.
Yeah, I'm sorry to miss cultural chaos this year.
Evan signed up. He said he is actually in Guys and Dolls. There's a
wow.
show, and there's a rehearsal tonight. That's why he's not here.
Oh,
So I'm like, oh, that's
What
interesting.
theater?
What?
What theater?
I'm Williston, maybe. I'm not. He told me, and I can't remember. But yeah, he's at a rehearsal tonight. But he did sign up.
I'm guessing he's a
Nice.
guy.
Yeah.
I'll bring snacks and I'll remember water this time. I didn't bring water last year.
Is there anything that you need? Anything else that you need us to bring, or I mean, do you have pretty much everything that you need?
I have everything. Yeah, I just did the full tent by myself last weekend at the bike breakfast in Northampton.
Okay. All right. Good. Well, if you think of anything, make sure you reach out because.
We should do more of the bells if you have them. People love swag.
They're in my basement, and I want them to go.
Heard we did
Yeah.
well last year.
yes.
Yeah. Donation.
Make sure we have a nice big sign on it.
Yeah, I actually have one more request. If you guys want to print out, like I have my own printout for newsletter sign up, and last year we didn't have a clear newsletter sign up for the Manhan. It was just like a scrap of paper. So if someone has like a branded whoever keeps track of newsletters. And like a clipboard. I have plenty of that stuff now, but you know, just a Manhan branded.
You got around?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
why I'm holding
Okay.
off.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. I can make a sign up sheet. That's no problem.
And then we can make it clear ones for you. You can maybe like do a check mark if you want it to be for both, or one just for the Manhan or one for Mass Bike, something like that.
Okay. All right. It's good. I can get some, I don't know if I have any maps. Well, do you have maps, Alexis? Any brochures? Okay. I'll have to get some brochures.
Yeah, we want tabs.
I just gave some old ones to George. They were in the Mass
I
Bike
have
store
them. I
locker.
just have to stop into my office and pick them up because I don't have them.
Your office.
My old office. My old office. Yeah.
You just had to say that.
Yeah. Just came out.
All right. Good.
Love it.
Holden?
I have a different topic. I guess I'm still learning. I don't know how to, Barb, if I'm supposed to email you if I want to put something on the agenda. I'm not sure that process, but.
Oh, yep,
Um,
yep. If you have anything, sure, just send it to me.
Okay, yeah, I just wanted to give a quick update. Alexis and I looked at signage a little bit. We talked about that last meeting, but if we're not done with cultural chaos, we can keep talking about that.
I think we're done. Sure,
Okay.
go ahead.
So you might remember we talked about, some possible signage for the trail, and we kind of had a bit of a discussion. Alexis, I think you mentioned that there's a pretty established recommended signage document. So Alexis sent that over to me and I took a look, and Alexis is more familiar with it than I am. But essentially it's mostly around wayfinding and directions, those types of signs on trails. But I think the general principles, keep it simple, keep it consistent, and, kind of allow people to keep moving. So the idea that you really have a minimal amount of text so someone can read it while they're riding. So, it seemed to be a good resource, and I can send it around to the group. And then Alexis, you also said that you talked to DCR a little bit about recommendations.
Yeah, I just had a short call today with someone from DCR who they're working on this kind of pilot project of signage about speed limits and pedestrian safety and all the things that we keep talking about, because we're not unique. Every rail trail has these issues throughout the state. So DCR is going to come up with some best practices. And they said that they would get them to me in the next month or two.
Nice. Thank you. That's great.
It's really good.
Yeah, you're right. Everybody deals with these same things. It's not just us.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking broader to see what other people have I think that's good. Yeah.
And the document Holden was referring to was developed by Tool Design in November 2022, and it's from Mass Trails, and it's about bike wayfinding design guide, and it literally referenced the Manhan twice. They use Manhan signs in there.
Wow.
And it's 40 pages long.
Wow. It would be really nice because these are not unique issues, if there was just a standard sign, and maybe that they could make them, and then the various trails could order them. We wouldn't have to recreate it.
Yeah.
And I would think that it would be cheaper if they, whoever is in charge, could have a bunch, and then we could just order off that same order or something.
Kind of like share the road.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. Well,
Yeah,
they must do that with highways.
the problem is MassDOT has 4,000 employees and Mass Trails has 4. So there's just not the level of scope to have parity on both sides. But yes, they are working on that. I literally said the same thing to them today of it would be just nice if you had best practices that we could share with all these rail trail groups, because I get these questions quite frequently.
Okay, great. Well, it was kind of a light agenda tonight. Is there any other issues or concerns or any trail? John, do you know of any trail stuff that needs to be done? It's gonna be a little weird. Yeah, it's gonna be a little weird because there's,
They're working.
they're working, so.
Again, I would say if anybody's out on the trail and you happen to see some work in progress and you see it as a photo op, please send me the pictures so I can post them. I'd like to keep that information flowing on Facebook so people are aware they don't show up for their monthly walk with their friend and they can't get on. I don't want anybody to be disappointed if we can avoid
No,
that.
I think actually keeping the Facebook page updated with construction pictures would be great.
Yeah.
So maybe we can all make an effort to search out to find out where they're working and try to.
Every time I've gone, I haven't been able to find any actual work yet,
Right.
but I think they've just been setting up and getting ready and
Right. Yeah.
setting up their stages.
Holden?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'll definitely try to take some photos when I'm out there, but I guess also because they're going to be concentrating work, I don't know if maybe they're, approaching it as they go, but if they're going to be only shutting down sections of the trail at different weeks or clearing stuff out in the sections they're kind of done with, I guess I'd like to avoid, obviously we're getting into the heavier biking season. If they can have only a section shut down rather than the entire length, if they're not really working or if they're finished work. I know that sometimes with construction, like I think Florence and Northampton saw that construction's done, but the barriers kind of stay up. Oh, did you just lose? Well, you didn't lose power because we can still. Oh,
No, we didn't move enough.
Yeah, just to prevent the fencing and stuff from hanging around longer than it needs to, if that makes sense.
That may be out of our control, unfortunately. I'm sure that legally they probably, for safety reasons, have contracted to do this and such, and we might not be able to.
Well, and they
influence
might
that.
just be bouncing around, or they've got subcontractors doing something in one place.
Right, and they've got trucks navigating. They don't want people on there while they're driving back and forth. So I agree with you, but I don't know if that's.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's going to be pretty short.
It'll be quick.
It'll be quick, so.
Yeah, a matter of weeks.
Yeah, so I mean, yes, it
Okay.
is not a great time, but.
Yeah, well, maybe if we just happen to hear about it, that would be a good thing to post on Facebook too, to say, hey, this section's closed, but this one's open. I don't know. That kind
Right.
of thing, but
Right.
maybe it won't happen that way.
Yeah.
Maybe even inviting trail users to chime in like to what they're seeing.
Right. We could ask.
Yeah, I mean, people that live near,
Yeah.
right by,
That's a good idea.
all right. Well, I guess if there's nothing else, there's no reason to make it a long meeting. So we'll see everybody who has signed up, and even if you haven't, on Saturday, June 14th, that should be, let's hope for good weather. Our next meeting is Monday, June 23rd, and unless I learn differently, we'll be back upstairs.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to adjourn? Second? All in favor? Okay, all right, thank you.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.